honor and privilege to introduce the next set of speakers to all of you. Can we have on stage Mr. Ravindra Kulkarni from Edicomp India Private Limited? He's the Chief Executive Officer. Kindly have a seat, sir. Next, can we have Mr. Sachin Sawant on the stage? From Chicago Pneumatic Compressors. He's the head gas processor in pistons, CNG, biogas, and hydrogen. Next, I would like to call upon Mr. Jorg Gronke from HRG Solutions GmbH. He's the managing director. Ladies and gentlemen, let's show some energy, please. A big round of applause. This is the last session. Next, can we have Mr. Vishwanath Bhandarkar, Thermax Limited. He's the Deputy GM and Innovation, Head of Environmental Division at Thermax. Can we have you, sir, on stage, Mr. Vishwanath Bhandarkar? Also, we are waiting for Mr. Jorg. Great. Next, can we have Ms. Katrina Grimm from Lemon? She's the International Sales Manager. Ms. Katrina, ladies and gentlemen, let's show some energy, please. Now, can we have Mr. Varun Karat? He's from Bioenergy Dynamics. He's the co-founder and CEO, guys. Let's give them a very big round of applause. Now, to moderate this session, I would like to call upon Colonel Rohit Dev, who has decades and decades of wonderful experience in the bioenergy sector and many other sectors as well. So we are so honored to have you with us today, sir. So Colonel Rohit Dev will be moderating this session. So over to you, sir.
So welcome to this session. And I think the last session is always the icing on the cake, right? The icing goes missing, the cake remains back here. Right, so it's always a challenge for any organizer to have people listening into the last session. But I'm glad there are a few empty seats, but there are a few seats which are not empty, and I think people outside can also come in, please. All those budding entrepreneurs, you can come inside, because right from my left to right flank are very eminent, experienced people on stage. Right. So without much ado, we will stick to the time plan, and I will initially give a round to each of the speakers, starting from my right, to introduce themselves and, in short, what they do, implying what their company or their organization does. And that being about 80-90 seconds each. And pardon me, all speakers, because I'm from the military background, so time is very important, right? And there are 10 aspects of what we're going to discuss today, right from policy advocacy to the way ahead, in between finance, technology, business models, everything is there, including green hydrogen. And my aim is to make sure that we get one round or two rounds in which we complete all these 10 aspects first, so that the audience also has a flavor of the entire bouquet of what we're going to discuss. And if that goes well in time, then we'll go to a third round and then throw the time open for the audience to ask their questions and queries. Besides that, if there is a young entrepreneur and you want to deep dive with a particular technology player sitting here, or anybody of knowledge bank on policy advocacy and things like that, you may like to spend some time off after the session or take their coordinates, and I'm quite sure the organizers will share all the coordinates with you as you require to interact in future as well. So without much ado, Kulkarni, to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Thanks for the organizer for arranging this conference. Myself, Ravindra Kulkarni, I am CEO of Edicomp India. It is just newborn company in India. It's a subsidiary of Edicomp SRL, which is having large experience on producing biogas compressor, especially low pressure biogas compressor, handling raw biogas. 25 years we are into this industry, producing compressors and supplying to almost every EPC, every OEM who is producing, purifying the biogas. And we have supplied few imported machineries already. They are into operations. But looking at the India scenario and the competitiveness of the market, Edicomp has come in India now. We have a manufacturing facility in Mumbai. and we are already in the process of manufacturing our first of our packages, um, and those are expected to be shipping out from our factory by end of this month. And looking forward with this initiative of ADICOM, we are really touching upon all key stakeholders of Indian biogas industry, and we would like to work with everybody, offering our best of the technology solutions, which is proven in the world so far, giving trouble-free services, and deliver the performances required for the biogas purification.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. And thanks for joining this session. I am Sachin Sawan, representing Chicago Pneumatic. Chicago Pneumatic is a part of Atlas Copco Group. Atlas Copco has a long legacy of almost around 150 years of manufacturing various types of air and gas compressors. We have a wide range of product apart from the biogas compressors. But as far as biogas industry is concerned, we have full basket of compressor from the blower till the final stage of high pressure compression. So we have low pressure, medium pressure, and high pressure compressor. And I look forward to this session and look forward to learn from my esteemed other panelists. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Jörg Gronke is my name. I'm the managing director of HRD Solutions, and more or less the whole CBG business in India started with my first project, what I've done in 2010 for Spectrum Renewables in Kolhapur, what we really executed and operated successfully for over 6 years. But that was at that time a total different game, because there we subsidize commercial LPG with our CBG, because at that time that was the best business case, because at that moment nothing really was in place to make otherwise a business out of that.
Hello, I'm audible? Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you IBA for giving us this opportunity. Yeah, my name is Vishwanath Bhandarkar. I am heading the technology development group for the environmental division, of Thermax. A little bit about Thermax. Thermax is more than 60 years old company. Headquartered in Pune, but we are a global organization. Have operations in about 90 countries across the world. We have about 8 to 10 different verticals. Yeah, one is we started with boilers. I know most of you know Thermax is a boiler company. Yeah. So we have boilers and heaters division catering to all requirements, of the industries, right from small baby boilers to large power plants on turnkey basis. Yeah, that's what we supply. We also supply thermic fluid heaters for various process applications. Then we have cooling divisions, where we actually manufacture vapor absorption chillers, of course, for industrial applications. Then we have water and wastewater solution group, which cater to all the water and wastewater requirements, in terms of treatment for different industries. Then we have an air pollution group, which I belong to. Yeah, where we actually, principally makes electrostatic respirators, scrubbers, back filters. And now we have created a new, cell within that environmental group, which is called as Thermax Neo. I'm sure you must have looked at our stall, where we are looking now at a gas enrichment solutions, from sustainability angle. That's where we are now offering solutions for biogas purification. And we have a whole bouquet of solutions for biogas purification, right from, VPSA technology, which was talked about, in the last session, VPSA and PSA, and a little bit about membranes. We also offer high pressure water scrubbing and amine based solutions also for CO2 capture. And then we also have a chemical division, which takes care of all the construction chemicals, ion exchange resins, pour point depressions, fireside chemicals, and so on. And we also have, recently constituted a new energy group, which is looking at all the new energies, from solar, wind power, and green hydrogen. We also have, created a new entity, which is Thermax Bioenergy Systems Limited, which is JV with the Aware Enviro, which takes the end-to-end solutions for biogas industries, right from feed preparation to biodigesters to purification and compression. And purification is somewhere, we enter and we supply them purifications as, for our own captive use as well as for, outside in requirements. So this is in short about Thermax. Thank you.
Thank you. Catherine, please.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Katharina Grimm. I'm sales manager of the company Lehmann UMT. It is a mid-sized family-owned company located in Germany, and it was founded in 1945. So next year we will have 80 years anniversary. And besides filter and conveyor technology for metalworking processes, we have specialized in the environmental technology. And there is the bioextruder, why we are here today and joining this event. First developed in 1996, this machine is used to make fibers from material with high lignocellulosic content. And so it is a twin screw mechanism. And with that, we are able to partly break down the material down to cell level. So why do we need that? We need it to process agricultural waste, especially for the biogas plant. So if we talk about straw, agricultural waste, manure, whatever, we address the challenges many operators have with this material, because the fibers, they have a huge surface, so that the bacteria can access easily and the gas yield will be increased. We can reduce the floating layers so that you can save mixing energy in the biogas plant. And yeah, so the fibers, they can also be pumped away into the digester. So it's a very easy material for the biogas plant after the extrusion process. We started here in India 10 years back with the first research project. And since then, the market developed step by step. And we are happy to have also our local partner here, Rika Biotech. And yeah, until now, we've already sold 15 machines here to India, and further 28 are in the pipeline. And yeah, we are looking to a successful future here in India, and we are happy to be here today.
Thank you, Catherine. Varun, can we have you next?
Hi everyone, my name is Varun Karad. I am the co-founder and CEO of Energy Dynamics. The name Energy Dynamics is evolved from the concept of renewable energy dynamics, wherein my co-founder comes from the solar background, I come from the biofuel background, and we thought together, let's try and integrate these multiple technologies to set up biofuel plants in the future. Also, in short, we are known as RED because energy dynamics can be confusing and mouthful sometimes. So like the color red, you know what I'm wearing. We are a technology plus CPC company. We also do feedstock aggregation. Last year, we collected around 13,000 tons of feedstock. This year, our target is to collect 1 lakh tons of feedstock. We also have our own products in the biofuels range. Right now, we're developing 2 large-scale projects for a large conglomerate. And we will also be developing our own project in the coming few months. Thank you.
Thank you, Varun. I think it's a beautiful panel because we're supposed to be at 14 minutes right now, but we have saved a lot of time. So we'll use it a little later as well. With no prejudice to anybody on the stage, I will first go to Varun, you. For primarily 2 reasons. He's the youngest here because I can't ask the lady's age at all. So I think he's the youngest. And second is, like me, he's also a entrepreneur. And he's been there, done that. And the question which comes to my mind is that, you know, you've been through a phase, you've been into a very niche consulting kind of a role in the Big Four. You have been through a company in biofuel. You opened your own, and by your own admission, you're saying it's also into solar. How do you see the policy advocacy set up in our country? And how inviting is our policy or ability to change or refine, which should be, you know, flagged mostly to people who are here from other countries? What should be the selling point in terms of the change we have seen in the last few years? How the policy advocacy in India has nurtured itself? So any thoughts on that? You can take your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. So I have been working for policy advocacy for a very long time, and yes, I am the youngest one on the stage. I think so, but no, I remember when. So I'll start from the very beginning, right? As York said that he set up a plant in 2008, 10, and there was no concept of bioenergy in the country at all. And something beautiful happened in 2014 when the new prime minister was elected. He started the Swachh Bharat mission, which actually started the entire thought process of what can we do with this waste. So after Swachh Bharat mission, then came in 2016 the MSW 2016 rules, which made it mandatory that you have to segregate your waste. When it's collected, you have to process it scientifically. Then in 2018, we had our Satat policy, which at the very beginning, again, was not one of the best policies out there, but it was a good start. And I remember meeting the top policymakers at that point in time, telling them, sir, that your policy is giving gas offtake for only 3 years. And if you give me gas offtake for 3 years, if I'm a project developer, if I go to any bank, they are not going to give me any sort of loan. We did push it through, and of course, through IBA and other institutions out there, everyone is talking about the same issue. And today we have the gas offtake up till at least 2034, which is a surety of offtake. Apart from that, I think this one sector is where there is a direct intervention coming from the Prime Minister's office. We have Mr. Tarun Kapoor sitting over there, who was the Secretary of MNRE, who is directly getting reports from the industry people of understanding what other policies, are there any policy interventions required or not. Another thing is what one of the panels before in this panel said, that only in India, if I'm not wrong, we have actually some sort of a market development assistance for FOM, which no other country offers. Apart from that, our country is offering gas offtake at synchronization level, where you can directly inject gas into the grid, or you can package it into cascades and also sell it. Thirdly, there is also a scheme, actually, if you are a large-scale plant, the central government will pay 50% of the capex for you to set up a line. So I think if the government is doing so much, it is our duty as entrepreneurs to do the remaining bit of it. If you ask me, all of us are sitting over here because this sector, the time has come now. The juggernaut has started rolling. I don't think anyone can stop it. We see great growth in this sector, and we have all the great technology players over here. We have, I think I'm working with almost every single company over here individually. And I might be the biggest buyer of most of their equipments as well, if I'm not wrong. But the thought process is there is many more like me out there, right? I hope that next year when we see, we have to book double the size of hall over here, and we have more investments coming into this sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Varun. Reminds me, similar to your experience of tenure of 3 years, when NTPC started, and if somebody's from NTPC, don't mind because it's a fact, right? And we had the first tender, 4 years tenure. So small people like me and Varun went somewhere and said, "Isme kaise hoega?" And somebody said, "No, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. We want competitiveness to come in our country in entrepreneurship and supply chain and all that English." So one fine day I was facing on a screen the power minister, and I was supposed to give a presentation to him in front of an audience. Obviously, the who's and who of NTPC was there. And we made that request that, very politely we had to tell the point that it's very foolish to say 4 years, right? And then it went on to a debate in their end. But the government took precisely 2.5 months. Obviously, there was a winter parliament session, things like that. They were busy. But believe you me, we got that notification for 7 years and whatever NGT had to consume in that 2.5 months. So it's a very, very proactive kind of place. I would recommend to foreign players, don't get bogged down by what you see on a paper. You say what is needed and what is conducive to get a thing done. And then probably use the good offices of the concerned ministry directly, or you go through people who can influence some associations like IBA. It's easier to then project a point for the government to make that refinement or change, right? Okay, so next is technology. So I've got everybody from CBG, obviously, and there's Mr. Bandarkar, who's from the hydrogen world as well, from Thermax. So I will first go to Catherine Yu. No, it has to be ladies first, but because I went to the youngster first, so I had to, bank on that. So, Catherine, can you just elaborate on the technology? And I'm very purposefully asking specific questions to our foreign guests because that is something new to learn from. Whether I ask them what global best practices next, and what is here, I will offer to you through the other speakers. So it will be a little more interesting to understand either's point of view. So over to you for describing what kind of technology is at hand to play from layman humanity here.
Yes. What we experience here in the Indian market is a huge growth of the bioenergy sector, in conjunction also with the growth of the economy. And yeah, we clearly see that agricultural and municipal waste is the ground, as the basis for a green future of India. And this is exactly where we start with our extrusion technology. And so yeah, let's go a little bit deeper into this technology. As I've already said, it is a twin screw system, and inside the machine there are certain pressure and release times, putting the material under high pressure and temperature. And due to that, so you have to imagine in every material in the cell level you have water, and due to the pressure and the temperature, this water evaporates within less than a second. So you can imagine it's like a small explosion, and so the material is defibered from the inside to the outside. This is the so-called steam explosion process our system is based on, and we developed it now since 28 years, and it is also a patented system, and more than 150 of those machines have already been sold worldwide. So the machine itself, it has different advantages, especially for the biogas sector. The material is partly broken down to the cell structure so that you can increase the gas yield. It has a huge capacity to absorb water, so you can stop or at least reduce the floating layers. And also at the end, so the digestate, the rest of the biogas plant, it can be easily processed to, for example, fertilizers or yeah, whatever the idea is how to use the digestate. But for us, it is not only to provide technology here, we also want to develop skill and knowledge. Um, we develop projects together with our clients, and we provide a solution and not only the equipment. This is why we support our clients also with the layout, how to integrate the extruder into existing systems. And we can also offer, for example, pre-treatment or peripheral systems that have to be installed upstream the extruder. And yeah, one of that step to be even better is that we just registered our company here in India so that we can also locally provide the technology and also the service and rare parts. And so this is also where the future goes with this technology. And we are happy to support our clients with this technology in India. And we are happy to have many projects here.
Thank you, Catherine. And I'll go to Mr. Bandarkar, and I will take you towards the green hydrogen part because I think you are the only player here who has multiple hats. So if you could describe what kind of research work or where have you reached there in Thermax, and what kind of technology you are looking at to imbibe in the future or develop.
Yeah, thank you. Good, nice question. Now, before, am I audible, right? Yeah, okay. Before coming to what we are doing, the Max, let me just put a perspective of green hydrogen. What we are seeing now is, I think there's a lot of push given by the government, for green hydrogen, especially, this is a new baby, and when the baby comes, it has to be nurtured, and I think government is nurturing it very well. Some right steps have been put in place, through this national green hydrogen mission, with 20,000 odd crores outlay being created and a lot of PLI schemes and all coming. I think there's a rush, to see who participates and how do we take it forward. There's a very ambitious target also, laid down by government of India that we want to be a global hub and export hydrogen from here, which is a good thing. And I think the stringent targets that we have put for ourselves, I think, is about 5 million metric tons per annum by 2030, which is about 15 gigawatts of electrolyzers, which would need about 125 gigawatt of green energy, to power those electrolyzers. So having said that, now I'm sure everybody is looking at this very keenly to see, what is the space that we have for us. As far as the Max is concerned, we are, of course, not a little bit technology agnostic, if I may say so, because we don't know what is going to pick up, eventually. But we have done our own little, survey and understanding of the various pathways that is available for creating green hydrogen. And we are seriously looking at two pathways, if I may say so, after the many pathways which is available today. One, of course, is known to everybody, that's electrolysis pathway. We looked at that also in detail, as to what do we do in that electrolysis space. And after going into the details of what electrolyzers are available today, of course, we are not looking at immediate cost today because we know today is not cost effective, both in terms of capex as well as opex. But I'm sure, like any other technologies, if I go to a corollary of the solar, which we are thinking, if you look at 10 years back, if I take you back to a decade, I think 1 megawatt solar would be somewhere about 8-9 crores per megawatt. And within a decade now we are saying, slashed by 50%. Now we're talking of 3 to 4 crores per megawatt. And we are very confident, as the technology develops and more people come into this, uh, these prices also would come down. So today we are looking at two things. We have analyzed different types of electrolyzers which are available today. Essentially three types. As all of us know, one is alkaline, which is the most prevalent today because of its lower cost as compared to the other technologies. Though it has a very low current density and it's bulky and so on. With low response and all that. Second, of course, is the PEM, which has slightly higher densities as compared to this. But then because of the niche metals which is used, in the catalyst make in the, for creating those anodes, cathodes, bipolar plates and so on, the cost is almost 50% or 60% higher as compared to alkaline electrolyzers. And then there is a big daddy, what is called as solid oxide, electrolyzers. So when we evaluated each of this, and what we found is, we have put our bet on solid oxide electrolyzers. Though it may not be of immediate interest, or immediate this thing as a market for us. But what we thought is, those are the electrolyzers, of course, which operates at high temperature. And since we are a thermal company, we said we have a big play there to, do a complete heat integration. And that is the value addition which we can add. And we have recently collaborated with the Sirius, a UK company, for its SOECs. And what we believe is, it has a very high current density, very high efficiencies, fast response times. And we are sure we know as we go further and we add our value to this whole product and make in India, eventually it will be the front runner, maybe a couple of years down the line, is what we believe. Second pathway, what we are looking at is, biomass to hydrogen, that is gasification, not fermentation, because fermentation has very low yields and it's still drawing board. So we're looking at biomass gasification, and then create those producer gas, clean it, separate it, and generate hydrogen. In this part one is already, we have successfully done that. Gasification of biomass, gasification of coal. In fact, we recently, demonstrated to the, at least to India, if not to the world, I may say, how do you gasify high ash coal? And it was a DST, Niti Aayog sponsored project, and convert the syngas into methanol. So we have got recently one more project awarded by Niti Aayog, again, only last week, where they have asked us to capture that CO2 which comes from the gasification and, and again convert into methanol to make it a total green, project. So looking at all this, so we thought this would be a good play for us. What we said, SOEC technology, and then of course biomass to hydrogen, where gasification is something which I already developed for coal as well as biomass. Now leftover is, only to treat those gases, which would be, contaminants like H2S. Ash, of course, we know how to handle ash, because we have been doing this for almost 50 years now. Then our foray into this biogas, we also know how to handle H2S, which is a pre-treatment requisite, before you use any of these enrichment solutions for methane upgradation. Then comes again our knowledge, on BPSC and PSC, because when you say multi-gas separation, again it would require some adsorbents, and essentially maybe 2 or 3 stages of BPSC or PSC to separate different gases, essentially CO, CO2, and traces of methane and nitrogen to get it pure and extract that pure hydrogen. So this is where we are working on, as a pilot now. And let's see, very soon we should be introducing something commercial as an offering. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grunke. So I'll come to your technology part probably in the second round because we had one. Just to cover space, what would you, from your experience, be able to share with the audience in terms of global best practices in all the streams, whether you are dealing with upstream or your midstream part? I mean, the floor is yours. So whatever you want to describe that you have imbibed over your experience and your company has got the experience, what kinds of global best practices do you recommend that people should take up here?
Look, I think what I know from the rest of the world is you have to build first a solid business case. Like Mr. Karat just mentioned clearly, if I want to do this business, it has to be business at all. If I want to do a project, I need sources, money. So if the offtake is not guaranteed, then I have no case. So for me, it's mandatory that especially in biogas business, it's mandatory for the grid companies to connect you on their behalf to the grid, because then you have no problems with the offtake. Because at the moment is more or less everyone is signing an LOI. Great, it's a nice picture, a nice function. Maybe you do a coconut breaking, a puja, but in the end, it's not really what helps you. But if this comes, because that is the reality in France, what was the money printing business for the whole industry was just that the government clearly declared to the guys, if you don't do that, we take the grid off you. And so suddenly they have no problems to connect plants 50, 60 kilometers. Because in the end, in reality, is what we need is a 60 millimeter gas pipe, proper injection. Of course, the quality has to be good enough. But out of that, that will be the most important thing. Then we can look, okay, that is possible. Then personally, what I see is that size of the plants should be reconsidered. At the moment, it's a certain grant available on a certain size. But that means also you need feedstock. So if you talk about 20 tons CBG a day, because I don't want now to give more or less an introduction how much you need of it, but if we ended up with 20 tons CBG, you have to look for the feedstock. Then also, what is a misguidance, in my opinion, is this discussion about MSW. MSW is such a global word. You can do it with, call it green waste, make it mandatory that people who will process waste, because that is a problem of the total civic body all over the world, it has to be paid. It's hardly impossible to develop a business case that you, as a processor, will pay for the takeoff. So it's really needed that somehow this kind has to reverse, because we have a bright shining example in Goa. They set up a project already 10 years ago. And there, the whole business is about the tipping fee. So they're not really in the way to say, oh, what I will do with the gas, how can I sell it? It's operational. It's a beautiful spotlight in the market. I just hope that you can visit it once to see how it will work. Then, of course, if the incentive is good for the gas to be injected into the grid, even they will look into it. At the moment, for them, it's not really, because the whole business is about tipping fees. And that what happened now, that more or less me as a project developer, I have now to pay for it to get it. That will more or less kill the business. I'm damn sure of it. Huh?
Thank you. So you covered a little more aspects into how to develop a business case as well, but we're not deep diving into the numbers right now. So let's go to Mr. Sachin Sawant. And coming from a background, if I've read correctly, sales and marketing. Right. So what is the kind of challenge you are seeing in this segment or sector? And what would be your recommendation on that line in sales and marketing part of our discussion today?
Good question. The sales and marketing, the challenges are mainly to identify the prospective customer, because there are many people talking, but hardly any getting converted. So you have to do a right hunting, and then the next phase is the farming. So you need to hunt the customers in a right way. One way is a digital way, is a best way to hunt the customers. Then there are technology provider in this particular business. But one particular problem which I have noticed in this particular business is not many of them, they are aware of what type of technology they should acquire. And there the entire biogas plant is not functional if they acquire a wrong compressors. Because what I have seen is that by acquiring a wrong compressor, they ended up having more issues on the compressor side rather than at the delivery end. So identification of right technology to suit to that particular plant is important. Then I see this market is divided into three parts. One is the economy segment. Another one is a moderate, I can say, industrial segment, where the needs are not so premium or not so economical. And one is the premium market. So we have to be very careful in offering the product to the right customers so that they get the best out of that particular product, because they cannot over invest, although they also want to have the reliable product, energy efficient product. Also they should also see for the total cost of ownership for the product. So all in all, what we need to educate to the customer is the total cost of ownership, the life cycle cost, rather than looking at only the investment cost of the equipment.
That's a very fair point, because going by L1 does not work everywhere, right? We are not in a government or a defense sector that L1 will always work. It doesn't work there as well. But going with P&L kind of activity, you have to be very sure. Take the LCA into account, value plan, your spare parts, and also important is the supply chain. Because when we all went into the COVID era, lot many plants had a problem because your import of various spares and parts came from other countries which were disrupted by the supply chain delays. So you need to have a more in-house, and that's where our government says Atmanirbhar Bharat. It does not mean that we don't want people to manufacture, but we were saying that shrink our supply chain lines, manufacture here, co-manufacture, and obviously the Indian market is the biggest market which has grown up. And after this market, you only have the African market. So if you actually produce here with cheaper kind of commodity, labor cost, and everything else, you'll be able to go to the African continent much faster as well. So that's the next battleground where we are going to. So not with much ado, I'll come to you, Mr. Kulkarni, because you have seen from a business perspective. Uh, what kind of business models can revolve around this sector? You can suggest a few. One could be what you're doing, and you can talk about if something can be more creative. And if when he finishes, if somebody has got a more creative model amongst us, or maybe from the audience, I will give you the chance as the audience to give me some kind of a model. So think about it.
See, I'm actually dealing with this product for more than 5 years. I'm seeing this biogas industry when it started in 2018 with the Satat plan. Primary, my observation is in India we are reinventing a wheel which is already been established 10-15 years ago in Europe. In America also there are well established biogas plants which are started producing moment it gets constructed. But here I am seeing in last 3-4 years there is none of the biogas plant has gone to reach even 50% of the production capacity right now. So it is because the wrong selection of a system or a package for right from digester side to the purification section. There are a lot of challenges being unnecessarily created by our Indian entrepreneurs who have tried to use something which is never used by anybody. Like for that matter, VPSA is nowhere used in the world. Uh, it's only membrane or a PSA systems which are being adapted, and those are really performing to the. In the previous session, we have heard that they are talking about less than 1% of methane slippage. So these are the things which are already there. There are the technology available, but it cost. Now there is a balance between cost of investment and the return of on the investment. That is the where we Indians are trying to reinvent something which we think that it will work out cheaper, but somehow in last 3-4 years I am seeing the none of the plants are producing what is supposed to be producing, and the investment, whatever is less amount of investment is done, it is really not giving any returns. So in learning, I could say that look for something which is already proven, well established. Of course, it will cost more, but you are sure of end of the period of completion period of the project, say 10 months or 11 months, you are sure that the plant is start producing the gas, and that is how you are going to gain um, return your investment.
Thank you. So, can I have your views? Yeah. So what kind of business models can be curated? Because you come from a standpoint that you're a foreign company, you want to come to India. What kind of model will work?
I think the model, what will work, is more or less first to look really in the right sizing of the project. Because at the moment, people flipping numbers into the market and they hardly understand what they're telling. Because 20 ton CBG is not really a joke. So for me, if the government want to push the business, they should just give grants to projects to max 5 ton CBG a day. Then the next really need is grid connection. Because in this field, the guys who will do CBG projects, they have not this burden of the OPEX of compression the gas, because you inject it with 15 bars, so power bills will go down, the network is already there, and anyhow, the gas compression, if it will be used in vehicles, is much easier for them because they have the whole setup. And to do the setup of all in each project, gaskets, booster compressors, it's a huge investment. And in this field, you will reduce CAPEX, OPEX, and of course, if it's connected, you have no issue regarding offtake of gas, because that is what I'm really observing. Wherever it is, if they have reached the number of gas, then still they not get rid of it. Because it's always a letter of intent, and then it's easy to bypass. The most important thing will be offtake has to be granted. Also financially should be there certain incentives, but definitely not for projects of 20 tons. Because I'm sure it will be a major challenge to get the feedstock for it.
Right.
No? So, and one other point will be, first of all, it should be mandatory to have a proper due diligence of the projects, locations, what is possible. Always people trying to do monodigestion. So we are not talking about something what is you have to invent new now here in India, because it's there. Look, multi-feedstock, green waste, food waste, that is maybe for reader the only source for business for 20 ton CBG a day. If you do it with food waste for the major city, because you have 3, 4, 5, 600 tons of good quality food waste, but ended up still at the moment at the landfill. So that better use in a CBG project, have grid injection, then more or less you have a solid business case. Then really the market will boom. That's what it is. The key will be that it will be mandatory for the grid companies to connect your investment to the grid, because then you have really daily cash flow, and more or less you're happy. Because if in the end the gas is not sold, you have to flare it, you make no money, you run out of cash.
Thank you. Varun, I'll come to you now, because this is going to relate to what I wanted to ask you.
Before
as
you
well.
ask me a question, if I may add a point.
No, I'm
agree-
coming there. I'm
Okay.
asking you to add.
Okay.
So let's give an Indian perspective of what combinations of business models will work probably. And also, since you have been involved with the financial realm of this entire business, the prudence, the financial jurisprudence will come from there. So if you can just, highlight that to the audience to be able to understand better how this sector works in the P&L structure and business model case.
Absolutely. And I might take 5 minutes to just add on first.
You take 5 minutes, because I will not ask you the third question.
Thanks. So so we have to look at this market in 3 different customers, and Sachinji just touched that point that there are different kind of customers, and we will have different kind of project developers in the market as well. So we can clearly divide the market into, firstly, large scale plants, which Jorg is talking about, that might not be feasible. Of course, it's not feasible for everyone, but imagine a large conglomerate who wants to set up multiple of these plants. For them, having a 5 TPD plant might not make sense. So for the larger companies who have deep pockets, who believe that they can aggregate feedstock, have they done it so far? They have not. Will they be able to do it? Only time will tell. The second kind of customers we have is which will start converting into biogas business is the sugar factories. They were sitting on the fence till almost a few years, but I have seen a lot of inquiries coming in for sugar factories. And over there, our average country's sugar factory size is starting from 2,500 tons crushing capacity, going up to 10,000 tons of crushing capacity. So the plants over there can be of a size starting from 5 tons per day, a gas output going up to 12 tons per day. So a sugar factory can range somewhere, can set up a plant because they have captive feedstock for the 6 months or 5 months of the year. And now comes the smaller plants. My only concern about setting up smaller plants at a very early stage in the industry is we don't have that processes evolved yet, or the machineries or the vendors who are evolved yet to actually give a clear picture to the project developer what they want. The biggest challenge which I face is when someone comes and commits to a project developer that I will do your project, which is a 5 tons per day output project, in 10 crore rupees. It is an utter lie. You cannot do that project in 10 crore rupees. A machine cost, only a few machines will cost you more than 10 crore rupees, right? So what we have over here in the industries, and which will evolve over, let's say, 2 to 3 years, we will have a lot of small vendors who will understand this entire intricate process of a biogas plant. We have to treat it as a process industry. It cannot be taken as a like a plug and play model right now. Yes, it can happen in Europe because you already have a 2G and 3G models coming in the model where you have skid machines coming in. So once we get to that size, so let's say 5 ton per gas models, right? What we see is even aggregating for that 5 ton plant in certain parts of the country is difficult. UP still doesn't have that ecosystem, even though we're sitting over there. But companies like Reliance or other companies are investing a lot of money to set up these hub and spoke model. Eventually, you will have smaller plants which will become more viable. If you ask me about mid-scale plants or large-scale plants, I absolutely agree that feedstock aggregation might be a challenge. But what also improves with large-scale plants is we are able to afford machinery which will actually give you at least a decent yield. Like the machine which you offer, I don't see it being viable in a small-scale plant, which is 1 or 2 tons per day plant, because the capex would not make sense. Also, the machines which Ravindra sir is offering, they might make sense for a large vendor developer who understands the intricacy of generating gas over 20 years with a constant 24 hours operating time. So I think it's a give and take kind of a relationship one has to share. You will have multiple project developers. Again, to just give you some numbers, if you are a project developer, if you're looking to develop a large scale plant, when I say large scale, it is anything above 15 tons or 12, anything above 12 tons. You should actually, I'm starting from the land till the entire commissioning, you will have to shell out somewhere in the range of 6 to 7 crore rupees per ton of output. That is the investment you will have to make. So basically, if you're looking at a 10-ton plant, you will have to spend around 60 crores to 70 crores. That is the minimum amount you will have to spend to set up a world-class plant with the machineries which people are sitting over here to afford that machinery. Do you have Indian options available for such machineries? Most of the companies sitting on the table are now manufacturing in India, right? Eventually, their prices will also go down, and these machines will eventually also be trickled down into smaller plants. I still believe it is still very risky for a small project developer to set up a plant. If anyone comes to me, I personally tell them, wait for a year before you invest into a small plant. Let the big boys spend their money. Let the big boys spend the money. Let the industry be developed. Let the vendors be developed. Let there be manpower available in the market, and then start investing. We do see a lot of small entrepreneurs like myself who are coming up and setting up 5 TPD plants, 10 TPD plants. And if you ask me, our learning has been by losing a lot of money, right? The quickest way to learn is by losing money. So we have learned some numbers, some OPEX numbers. Again, my thought process is a 10 to 12 ton plant is a good mid-size range plant, which one should look at developing. Anything less, I'm a bit dicey, but your gap, I might have a different opinion. And of course, you have more experience. And we should, and that's the beauty of our country, right? We have everyone who has a different opinion. But overall, 10 to 12 tons is my take. 20 tons, let the big boys do it. 5 tons, I'm not very sure. Thanks.
Thank you for that. I don't know what big boys are doing, because setting up a plant is easy. Running that plant on a 20-year model on the upstream is the most difficult and the bugbear in the room, actually. And you were putting some numbers. I can relate to some numbers of basic, equipment required for supply chain. If you want to do 100,000 tons of biomass aggregation today in the field for any project, if that is the case, not press mud, your requirement is looking at about 300 million USD. Sorry, 3 million USD. That's about 24, 25 crores, right? So most people want to buy the biomass and then set up a plant to sell the gas. It's not going to happen. Unless you put your skin in the game into that upstream, it's not going to work viably, because there will be some other shopkeeper who will come and buy the same commodity or something else at a higher premium price. That's happening in our world
And
as we speak.
just to add a point, sorry to cut you off, but and this is the first thing one should do. If you're setting up a plant, please invest in your own aggregation machinery, at least 15% of it, so that you have some sort of idea how to aggregate. So we do have the largest machinery fleet in the country right now.
Good.
Of round balers. So we have 56 crony machines,
Fantastic.
which is again one of the best machines out there if we understand. So I think investing in the right machinery is the only way you will save your plant over the long run.
Thank you, Varun. So I'll now come to an aspect which generally is not covered in many conferences. Year 2021, you remember when the big boys came into bioenergy in India, right? Whatever be the problem, the biggest problem was not at what price point did they buy your briquettes, pellets, or they wanted to set up a plant or whatever leased land was happening. The biggest challenge which started then and now you're facing in India is skilling of the people in upstream, midstream, particularly, right? So as many plants you can have in the bioenergy sector, and it's agnostic, it's biofuel and boiler segment both together, there are a lot of skilling challenges, reskilling challenges, upskilling challenges. So from your experience, Katharina, if you can highlight in whatever aspect of maybe technology-based manufacturing, or if you have seen the entire ecosystem, what are kind of challenges which you see globally, and specifically if you have some inputs for India, how to refine that?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think we already heard previously that nearly none of the plants is now working at the 100% capacity as was planned. You also underlined it. This is also what we experience. I think it is the same for every technology provider. It is also for us as providers of the bio extruder. It is not that you just place the technology there. You place the machine, you turn it on, and everything will be fine. It is not the case. You have different interfaces. All the machines have to communicate with each other, and every machine is dependent from the upstream and the downstream technology. For us as extruder producer, it is the shredder upstream. It is a mixing unit upstream the extruder, but downstream the extruder, there might be the agitator or the pumps. They rely on our result and that we provide the best result that their machines can work. And so this all is not only about integration of technology, it is also to develop knowledge. And so this is the specific experience we also have here in India, that we really have to focus on this topic, because so far the knowledge and the skill is not at a level also that the big players we already mentioned are able to operate biogas plants at that level they plan to. Okay, so it is not, if we talk about 20 tons per day or whatever, all the employees, it is not only in management or somewhere in the middle of the company. Every employee in the company has to have huge knowledge and they have to be very well trained to operate the technology, to get all the results that were previously designed. So what we experience now, there are multiple biogas plants coming up, so many biogas plants, but all the companies, they are still experimenting. So huge amounts of money are already invested in this sector, but the best practice out of it is still not defined. Okay, there's not that one biogas plant where you can say, okay, all the technology, it works perfectly fine, all the employees, they are skilled, and we can just learn out of it and apply it also for further projects. This is at the moment, it is not happening. And we also see a part of in it to improve that. So what we will do is not just finding the company here, we will also have an extruder here for test purpose. We will have skilled employees by sending them to Germany, showing them how the technology works, also sending them to reference plants in Europe where they can see different materials. And of course, we have to learn too, and to gain further experience on the material here in India. So paddy straw is not the same like wheat straw. We experienced that from the very beginning, and as I said, we are here already since 10 years. So we also try to spread this knowledge we already gained, and together with our clients, we want to extend our knowledge. And I think a networking in a congress like this year is a perfect place, to pool all the experience, but also to address the challenges we still have, as you already did, to make a plan. And maybe next time we're sitting here together, we will have some further development in technology and in skills and so that the projects that are defined will be more successful.
Thank you. Mr. Sawant, just keeping it a little short, any recommendations for the skilling sector? Recommendations.
Yeah, it's a good question again, because what you need is a skilled manpower to handle the compressors as well as the biogas plant. What we do, that we use the digitalized media to train our people. So nowadays we have AR and VR modules, so which we use it for training our engineers as well as even educating our customers. See what is the type of pipeline you need to have, what is the compressor maintenance you need to do, and how it is to be done. So all it is done through AR and VR these days. So it is very easy, and interface is also very simple. So that is the one thing which we have invested in and will continue to invest in that. Another thing is related with creating an academy. Maybe even the suggestion can be to IBA that we can have an academy for biogas upgradation system and associated equipment, which can become a platform for all the young people to come and get educated with all the manufacturers with respect to the technology.
Thank you. So before we draw to a close, I will ask Mr. Kulkarni, uh, key issues only, just you can name them, the challenges in this sector. If you can summarize the entire session and say what are the challenges we are facing today in this CBG sector. And I'll come the same question to Thermax as well. So whatever he does not cover is yours.
Challenges, as I say, we already discussed about even managing the waste material availability, then purification. These are all the challenges, but yes, of course, Adicomp, from our part, we have developed such a compressor package which can handle any gas composition, can operate at any suction pressures or any flow rate. So basically, this is the experience of Adicom, that it is not only in India, in worldwide also. The operating condition of the plant is not what is there on the paper when it is declared in the project stages. So the gas composition keep changing because of the feed. The suction pressures are not going to be the same. Flow rates are very, very small when the plant is in the starting stages. So we have a compressor solution which can handle 0 to 100% turn down. We give 8,000 hours of uninterrupted operation guarantees, and these are the things which make a very viable solution for the clients who are using purification system. There is a need of this kind of sophistication is needed apart from the raw material handling, so that customer can get immediate returns once the plant is commissioned.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Bhandarkar, challenges, he mentioned A, technology, B, supply chain.
Yeah.
Now C, D, E.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So thank you. I think this is the last question for me, I suppose. Yeah. End of the segment. But anyway, yeah, I think some of these points have already been addressed by Kulkarni. I would like to, bucketize it into three. So there are multiple challenges, but I will try to sum it up, with the three main challenges, if I may, put it in front of the audience. One is, technical challenges. Second, I would put it in, as economic challenges. And third, regulatory. Okay, now coming to technical challenges, I think we have spoken enough. I think from morning I was sitting here, and all, I think I agree with all the speakers, the main challenges I see here is on the feedstock side, starting from the raw material. So when I say feedstock, both availability and the quality, so these are the biggest challenges I see, especially when people talk of putting glass size plants, unless you really take care of the, logistic side of the supply and consistently availability of feedstock, you will have the challenges throughout. Second, yes, having said that, people have also realized, that you will not get a single feedstock of that quantity when you're putting glass size plants. So people are going for multi feedstocks. Now the challenge comes on the technology player. When you go for multi feedstocks, then how do you design a digester which can take care of all these variations, and still deliver the gas at the required quality and quantity, So of course there are technologies available. Not that I'm saying there are no technologies, but yes, there are challenges there. Then coming to the purification, when you look at purification, when you are using, feedstocks of different nature, then of course your methane, and CO2 concentration would vary, the raw RBG composition, and then also the H2S, depending on the feedstock that we are speaking of. So unless you have a right technology, done. So that's what I would like to be a little bit differ from what you were saying earlier. There's something is available outside. Why don't you just pick it and cut paste it here? It doesn't work because India is different in the sense our feedstocks are different, our people are different. We don't have that kind of skill sets here. So and there are varying level of people. People will not be able to invest for big small projects going for membranes, though we are also supplying those membranes.
Right.
So that is where we saw when we did a market survey, I think rightly put by Varun also, that there are all kinds of people, and a small developer would like to put a small plant, and definitely he cannot afford to put membranes, though he knows there could be a little bit methane losses additional. So that is where these different technologies are required. But barring that, these are the technological challenges I saw. Coming to the economic challenges, of course, again, the feedstock fluctuations, prices. So lot of investment is required for this plant, and then we have no surety of the payback because of the fluctuation in prices, fluctuation in the offtake. We are not guaranteed offtake at a certain price, and then of course the energy further costs. All that put together. I would also add here, the distribution network is still not in place. Infrastructure for transporting the CBG. The lines are also not in place. So that could be all related to economic challenges. Regulatory, yes, much has been done by the government, but what happens is, if you see at the ground level, still policies are not 100% getting implemented. In few states, yes, in few states there are still challenges. So I think we should look at all of these, whenever anybody wants to, set up a plant. So some of these, of course, there are many other challenges from the environmental point of view, release of methane and all that will keep at some other time. But these are the three main challenges I thought, one
Right.
should look at.
Thank you. But there's an element of surprise. He thought he had the last question. That's not the case. And we will have three more people giving me some kind of inputs. We'll start with Mr. Gundek. You mentioned a very good, set of suggestions in what the plant size should be. That's okay. Shut it down. Nah. So, no, you'll not be shot. Don't worry. The bullets are on me. So what I'm saying is, any specific other recommendations as a person looking at our industry from outside, our government policy from outside, what recommendation we want to give? You can be crisp about the recommendation part, we'll understand. But as much as you want to talk, please let us know what you want.
I think it's now just needed to do what is in the market. It's not that really, because that it's a little bit the Indian style. They want to invent something new. That it's not needed is there because you have the Atlas Capo. They have everything in place. It's a costly equipment, but definitely they know also what kind of cleaning system will work. Because this special VPSC system, it's a miracle. It's a torch in the market, but just here in India. And I personally know that is challenging to survive with that one. And just go ahead with the substrate which you have, because one of the most critical parts still is everyone is looking for substrates what normally are quite good, because Thermax is in the boiler business. Normally you utilize in a boiler. Whatever you can light with a lighter does not really belongs into a biogas plant. So I have still my suspicions about paddy, because of course I can bring it to a third point that I can digest it, but the path to it, it's killing me already financially. So I think you have Pressmud, you have so much agricultural land, Napier, other grasses. Go with this and now start immediately with the World Championship of Digestion, that because that is cotton stalk, paddy, wheat. That will be much easier compared to paddy, but take what is in the market, just enforce the government to help you. Financially also you need the support. I think it will be a major boost if the government will support all developers or companies in it with interest-free credits. And that it will push it. Sure. So it's not really that more or less not all is in place. So, and all who are sitting here, we know what it is, because I think certain things belongs not really in a biogas plant. That will make life much, much easier for all people who are in the business.
Thank you, Mr. Grundek. Catherine, to you now. What would you like to recommend, please? The timer is stopped, so you can keep speaking. No problem.
Yeah.
No, it's better we go late, otherwise you'll be stuck in traffic for half an hour extra. There's no point, right? So let's talk. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the direction of the government, it is quite, it is clear, and it is also clear with the paddy straw. But so, contrary to Mr. Guanca,
Oh, yeah.
but it is a definition. So, but it is the definition that paddy straw should be used
Yes.
as agricultural waste because it is banned to burn it on the fields. But it is a challenge for the operators. It's even a challenge for us. It is not that we say put it into extruder and you will be happy with it. It is also challenging for us, and so there should be. I come back to the skill development. There should be done more, that we get help, that we can get more experience, and that the operators get more support in treating difficult materials like that. Because if it should be the goal for the future to use the paddy straw, there should be focused more on the knowledge in this field, doing
Sure.
more development and research in this field, and then yeah, the operators and technology providers like us will benefit from it, because at the moment, as I said, so it's very experimenting at the moment what we are doing here, and so then the picture will become clear for the future to treat also difficult materials like that.
Thank you. So before we end, let's have an Indian perspective. And Abhijit, I would request that either due to paucity of time or general diplomatic courtesies people extend, we need to take out from them what more is needed to be done. And let's have a proper webinar with the similar panel and more, and get that out before you compile your report this year, right? Last but not the least, and always the youngest man. So tell us both. Tell us three challenges you have faced in CBGs in your experience of last 7, 8 years. Just three. Just name them. I don't want elaboration. And then give about 3 to 4 recommendations where we ought to go.
Faced major challenge in upgradation. That is why I think it's been repeated twice. I'll repeat it the third time. I would avoid going with a VPAC system, please. I would go with a membrane system. If you're setting up a plant, if the gas is not purified, there is no point setting up of a plant. Pre-treatment of any feedstock is a necessity. So whatever feedstock you're choosing, choose a correct pre-treatment system. Paddy straw is the most difficult feedstock you will ever handle. If you can avoid it, that's the best you can do. But if you have to use it, please use a system which can do some form of steam explosion, which can either be the machine which they are providing, which is, we know for a fact, which is working in the industry right now, or there's other technologies out there as well. And in terms of agitation, if you're using any straw, there will be floating layers unless you're going for steam explosions. So talk to Jorg for the mixing technology. I hope I get a discount from all of you now, right?
Don? Yeah. We don't have much time, so I will just throw a few pointers because I have to seem more intelligent right now as the moderator. He mentioned briefly, somebody said economics as well, but I think the cost of borrowing is something which the entrepreneurs need a facelift on from the government side. If the cost of borrowing can come down, I think the entire upstream, which is a supply chain of biomass, which is MSW or it's press mud or it's whatever, it will get spruced up, especially the agricultural waste, because that is what the farmer is waiting for. The man can only do so much with his money, which he gains from selling grains. You need to spruce up with cost of borrowing to be favorable. Second is partnership. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody wants profits, right? And I'll not take a name, but I'll just narrate in 30 seconds a story. Big agents, company, global, European era 2019, right? How much is your machine for? 1 million USD. I said, I can't afford 1 million USD. So the options were discussed, everything was done. And I said, let's come on a model in which you and me both have skin in the game for next 20 years. We don't do that model. I said, fine, thank you. I'll buy 2 machines. One I will use because I have to generate some profit because I've invested 2 million USD, and one I will give it to Ludhiana to reverse engineer your entire machine. And if your machine does 1,000 passes, Ludhiana machine with one metal or 2 minerals missing will still do 600 passes, and I will start getting it done. And then I will go to Africa myself. I don't need you, right? Lo behold, somebody came, the top notch of that company, and he met me, impromptu. He said, how much service have you got into this corporate sector since you left the army? I said 3 months, right? So I think the day has come that it's not to be demanding, but the partnership models will work. If you have a machine you want to sell me for 1 million USD and the machine cost is 0.5 million USD, you better come to me with that 0.5 on an open book. I will do my business of entire supply chain and whatever project costs on an open book. We'll go and make that $1. And if your skin in the game initially was worth 50% of it, you take half a dollar for the next 4 or 5 years. Why 4 or 5 years only? Because after that, your machine has taken the estimated depreciation from my government and you become zero. But I'm still giving you 20%, 25%, 30% for the next 30 years to make sure that the machines work. So I think these are the models which we need to be very empathetic as citizens of this country to make sure it comes in that dimension. I'm not, against any technology to be imbibed, but I'm totally against that ecosystem to be crushed by the capex and the opex, and the people who are in the upstream, like farmers in the rural community, are not able to get their bang for the buck. So that is the thing which needs to be done. Second is skilling. Only one suggestion, that we must institute centers of excellence for skill development in India. Like the government of Israel, if you are not aware, is doing for agriculture, right? So the training of trainer happens in Israel. The setup is understood, but the centers are coming up here, and there your economy of scales can come, because 15 CBG plant X technology manufacturers can get together to create that center with the government's approval, and you can run it with the assistance of people who are Indians and train Indians in the rural belt and semi-urban areas where your factories will come up about. Then last, I'll end here. We can talk later probably. 2 recommendations. Energy sector. The problem comes is, you get an LOI, you get it whatever from the government. When you go to a state, the state has got a different mandate or a different trip they are on, and the ratification of your policies takes time. Some states take 2 months, somebody takes 4 months, somebody doesn't want to do it, right? So we have all shades of gray in our sector, because energy is under the federal structure. It comes under the concurrent list of the parliament. Am I correct? So, and where does the thing like defense come? It comes in the union list. So state has got no lane over what policy is made. And unless you put the energy sector, because energy is also a very, long-term security arena, it has to be put under the union list. And then only the foreign companies will have that assurance to come and invest in this country, to be sure that the policy is constant. So I think that is one. And the last bit, which I always say, is that, young entrepreneurs should be much more demanding in what you want. We have finished time. Are there any questions? You can raise your hand, please. One lady, one gentleman, 2 gentlemen. Entrepreneur or running a company or what? Both. Entrepreneur. Okay, no. Entrepreneur first. What's your question? He needs help. You are going to advise us, no problem.
So my question is related to logistics of gas. So is there any alternate to apart from CGD for the low weight cylinders? Supposedly we have to use 20 kgs of we have to if we have to transfer 20 kgs.
They've got the question.
Yeah.
Anybody? Just
There
brief.
is
Just
there
brief.
is there is different type of cascades available, but they're very expensive. They will not make any economic sense. Go with regular cascades. That's the only thing. The one cascade, it's the prices have come down drastically now. You'll get one cascade for not more than 18 lakh rupees, and it'll hold around 750 kilos of gas, 72 cylinder cascade or 60 cylinder cascade. So that's the most decent way to transport them right now. But as everyone is saying, if you set up a plant, try setting up a plant near an injection point, and eventually talk to the government. They will set up a pipeline for you. That will be the better way to go ahead. Also remember, if when you're setting up a plant, your cascades will get stuck at the fuel station. So you might require extra cascades. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you. Entrepreneur company. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know your name. You can tell your name as well. There's no harm.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
I am Hemendra Shah, Vice President Technical and Projects in Sopan. We are actually providing entire solution end to end for biogas. I have a question and suggestion both together. When you said to Mr. Abhijit to have a webinar, Mr. Kulkarni said reinventing the wheel, Mr. Sachin said academic, Katrina says about the knowledge imparting. I believe
bio industry is little bit immature compared to oil and gas what we are used to. So we need to have something like a webinar, and we should have
Sure.
people like Varun, maybe 15, 20 Varuns or more than that, and we should have some data collected and webinar through we can give.
Your
knowledge
session
to
is
the
taken.
people.
We'll organize this soonest.
Because
Let IBA
in
recover
last
from
2
this
days,
entire
in
event.
last 2 days, I have
I
listened
think
very
third week of October, can I commit? Every quarter they do. So I think the links can be sent to all the attendees to
very
attend the
basic
next one.
questions like I will give you example. People are asking, can I get a cost of 100 ton? Now, what is 100 ton? They do not know that it has to be a biogas ton, not the feedstock.
We
Now,
got
they
that.
were talking about feedstock.
We
Those
got
are
that.
the basic questions. Maybe we can give them 10 points. Everything will
We've,
be sorted
we've got
out.
your point. Some databasing is required to be given to
Correct.
people to plan. That's okay. Although we had Mr. Kulkarni and Mr. Bhandarkar, in a debate mode, and Kathirina and Gurutek also in debate mode. I'm not Arnab Goswami. And we don't need 20 Varuns, one is enough, right? So I think we'll keep it at that. Where's the advisor? Yeah, advisor. What advice do you have? Ma'am, please. I don't know your name. Please say your name as well.
Hi, I'm Shravya, and I work for a firm called Amperside Advisors. We are a London-based firm, so this is my first time here in India at a biogas conference. It's just opportunistic that I was here. One challenge that we did just one project here, and one challenge that we faced was in the banks and financial institutions having very low awareness for the sector as such, and very high levels of inertia to lend. So I think the upskilling bit comes here, where I felt there was a need for them to really understand, and for entrepreneurs and stakeholders to kind of engage with that
Right.
community. And I don't know, what is your take?
So thank you very much that you didn't take name of that banks. It's okay, right? So let's not make that public. Let's keep it secret. There are many schemes which the government takes out, and you also have heard about agriculture infra fund. If I read it and I understand it, there are 4 or 5 schemes which anybody can use to build up an upstream. I'm just giving an example. But is it connected into a single string of pearls? The answer is no. Is a common villager who wants to do it as an entrepreneur, he's able to reach the bank doors? The answer is no. Right? So there are challenges in our system. But having been through the motion, and I hope Varun will agree, people who are a little more perseverant and little aggressive in getting things done, they have gotten it done. I have gotten it done in entire value chain, in parts and bits from even IREDA and other people. And Varun has also got done financing for a big ticket project in Indore as well. So I think more is about awareness of that scheme. And if you are running an advisory firm or something, for you to also understand, to be able to enhance that awareness. We do as a part of our job set and skill set, but that's what is more is required. So if you are more affluent, you get to know. I am telling you, as a rich, affluent farmer, you should go and teach your people, but unfortunately, that does not happen, right? So we don't have any quick fix answer for how to do it. But yes, the government schemes are in all vernacular today. They are in all media. They are in all forms, including social media. So I think the awareness is slowly coming in, and we'll be able to utilize this drawdowns from the government of India as well. I think close. You have to go home. You've been awake since morning. So I'll hand over to the young lady, and she can close these.
Wow, what an amazing session we have had. All thanks goes to Colonel Rohit Dev for moderating it so wonderfully. So thank you so much, everyone, all the eminent speakers. Special thanks to Colonel Rohit Dev once again, and all the distinguished guests for gracing the occasion today. Also, a very special thanks goes to our sponsor, Gruner Renewable Energy Private Limited, who made this conference possible for all of us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the vote of thanks, I would like to call upon Mr. Abhijit Mukherjee, Director Operations, Indian Biogas Association, to address all of you.
Thanks, Mansa. So it's very difficult to speak once Colonel Rohit Dev has given his or set the stage on fire like he has, right? So it's very difficult to speak after that. But still, I will do the formalities here. So the thing is that we had a wonderful day. The entire day was insightful, exciting, all the 4 sessions, and the kind of questions that came up In the last session, we were just discussing that we could have had this session in the morning as well, right? So we could have even had more questions. But nevertheless, I would say that although we have come to an end of this session, but in real sense, it is a beginning of a new paradigm shift. Rohit Dev already talked about having webinars. We conduct it on a quarterly basis, and definitely whatever sessions came today, we will be incorporating that. We'll be having more entrepreneurs in those webinars, right? Like Varun, he also had wonderful insights to share. We will have more such faces coming to our webinar. But the thing is that although we are at the end of the day, in real sense, we are having a new start for the simple reason that we have already done a lot of damage to the environment, right? So we are seeing a lot of environmental climatic change related mitigation activities happening all around. So once you are away from here, back to your workplaces, there are a lot of commitments, a lot of things that we need to do because Mother Earth needs our contribution, smaller or bigger, whatever it is. No contribution is going to be small because of the irreversible damage that we have already done. So the thing is that let's kind of keep the banner going, keep the flag of bioenergy flying high. I would also like to thank the MNRE for providing us the needful support to conduct this event. I would like to thank Informa Markets, who is the official organizer of the event. Also the conference sponsor, Gruner Renewables, who helped us in setting up this conference. Also the enthusiastic panelists who has set the stage on fire, especially the last one. And even in the morning, we had MNRE representatives also addressing the audiences. Especially to the audiences for your wonderful participation, and you had been really active all throughout. And last but not the least, I would like to thank my team members, IBA team members, who had been working tirelessly. Means you have seen this activity happening for only 3 days, but in real effect, this was planned. Just the next cycle of the event starts happening from today onwards. So it's a 1-year cycle that we follow to kind of pull out this 3-day event. So real thanks to IBA team, without whom this event couldn't have been possible. So thanks one and all. A lot of things when we need to do, a lot of responsibilities on our soldiers. So let's keep the flag high, waving high. Thanks everyone.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspirational, motivational words. And now I would like to request Colonel Rohit Dev to kindly do the felicitation ceremony. So first...
That lady there, what do you do behind the advisor? Yeah, you. That lady, there's only one lady behind the advisor, yeah. What's your name, please? Please come on the stage. Entrepreneur, come on the stage. You will facilitate this half and you will facilitate this half. Please come.
Please give our special guests a very big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome them. So first, we'll have Mr. Ravindra Kulkarni from Adicomp India Private Limited. Can we have the mementos, please? Let's show some energy, guys. Next, can we have Mr. Sachin Sawant? Mr. Sawant from Chicago Pneumatic. Mr. York, please. Mr. York from HRG Solution GmbH. Now can we have Mr. Vishwanath Bhandarkar from Thermax Limited? Mr. Vishwanath Bhandarkar, ladies and gentlemen. It's okay, all of us are going home after this. Let's just pump it up. Our wonderful Miss Katrina Graham, please. From Lehman UMT. Our young vigilant Mr. Varun Karat, please. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a big round of applause. From Bioenergy Dynamics. Now I would like to request all of you to kindly just stay for a while for the group photograph. किनका रह गया? And also, I would like to call upon Dr. Atmaram Shukla, President, Indian Biogas Association, to kindly give the memento to Colonel Rohit Dev. Please, sir, please come upon the stage. Please, sir. Sir, please do the honors. Colonel Rohit Dev, the showstopper, ladies and gentlemen. The man who put the stage on fire and didn't let anyone sleep during the last session, which is quite unconventional, I must say. Great. Can we have the group photograph?